Welcome to BodyWork.
Please fasten your seatbelts.
I had 11 Olympians and over 800 national champs. And all those men, they wouldn't do half the work that she do. And I'm seeing it from the young ladies. These last 2 years,
you got the last one right. That's the
when
only
you
person
think
that can
about
beat
it,
me, Gervonta Davis. That's the only person. Them niggas cannot touch me at all. Yeah, that's right. You got the last one right. That's the only person that can beat me, Gervonta Davis. That's the only person. Them niggas cannot touch me at all. Yeah, that's right. You got the last one right. That's the only person that can beat me, Gervonta Davis. That's the only person. Them niggas cannot touch me at all.
Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to BodyWork Boxing. And today I want to talk a little Gervonta Tank Davis. I believe that this young man is on the Ascension. And there are a lot of clues that's actually telling us that he is on his way. Many of us already knew that he was on his way. Many of us already give him the respect and the praise due as far as what he's able to accomplish inside of the ring. And as a person that's living in Baltimore, seeing the city, seeing the youth, traveling throughout the DMV, I know that a lot of young people look up to this young man because he beat the odds in the statistics. Although a lot of people don't like that, it's a fact. You know, he has an epic coach with a tremendous staff. You know, they have their own channel where they do their own thing. You know, and for me, I do it because I'm a fan of Tank. You know, I'm a fan of I'm a fan of Shakur. I'm a fan of the Russells. I'm a fan of the Charlos. I'm a fan of Regis. I'm a fan of T.O. I have a lot of people that I'm a fan of, right? I'm also a content creator. So I know that even though I may be a fan of somebody, their camp, whoever they rock with, they may not rock with me, right? The likelihood of somebody actually paying somebody like myself to put out any kind of agenda or anything like that, how likely would that be? However, there's another young man who we give a lot of praise, a lot of respect to, a lot of admiration for actually maneuvering through the political game, you know, putting his talents out there when he needed to do what he needed to do to get the belts. It's a lot of things outside of the ring that I myself personally don't like. I do not like how every fighter that's on the opposite end or the opposing end of this fighter is always being trashed. There is a long history, a long track record. You got Tank, you know, smear campaign daily because of Devin. You got Gary Russell Jr. That whole epic period getting smeared because of Devin. For a minute, you had JoJo getting smeared. You had Rolly getting smeared. you know, T.O. accomplished everything he accomplished until he had a bad night at the office with Cambosis. Okay, it happens. You know what I'm saying? But everybody wants to negate everything that T.O. did after the success he has. And I'm not one of them. I'm not gonna say because you had a bad night that it's over. If that's the fact, nobody would have been a fan of Regis anymore. But people like Regis. He suffered a loss too. But T.O. gets trashed. T.O.'s fathers get trashed. Tank, his whole coaching staff. And I'm not speaking on behalf of them. They don't even rock with me like that. So I'm not speaking on behalf of anybody. I'm speaking on behalf of myself when I say these things. I've been watching it, and I'm starting to realize that a lot of people actually put things out for the casual audience. The people who don't have the time to actually look. The people who is like, okay, if fighting is on, we're going to tune in and watch. Oh, I know this name. I know that name. I have friends that's in the boxing. Whenever they want to know what's up, they'll hit me up. They'll call me, hey, man, what's up? We're going to watch that fight. We're going to do this. But, so the casual fan, they don't have time to actually pay attention to it on a regular basis. So what happens is people start lying. They lie. And then because somebody rocks with their personality, somebody likes the fact that they're funny. Somebody likes the fact that they're charismatic, have a way with words, however you want it. Like when you create content, people gravitate towards you as the creator of that content. It's not necessarily about the content because a lot of people be lying through their motherfucking teeth when they putting out things and saying things about certain people. And because people like them, they give them all the credit as if they were always telling the truth and what they say is the gospel. So it's a lot of things and what I don't like. So I left off at what, Tank? We said T.O. Okay, so now we got Shakur being trashed. We had Keyshawn Davies being trashed. Right? Everybody that's on the opposing, but this energy is never the same energy when it comes to Loma. And it wasn't the same energy when it came to Linares. I wonder why. But just yesterday, somebody, and I told people, I said, look, man, I did used to rock with some of these people. I did. I super chatted, I donated, I gave money, I was rocking. I was one of the people saying, yes, but over time, I said, hold on. In this case, when we were talking about this boxer, you said this. Now we're talking about this boxer, you're saying that. It don't line up. And one day, the one I'm going to play, one day I got on this channel. I had a wrench and everything. I got on this channel. We were talking about Devin Haney and Tank. I did not get body. I did not get buried. None of that happened. And you know how it is when somebody rock with you anyway. You know what I'm saying? At that point in time, when somebody rock with you anyway, they're not going to go at you like they're going to go at somebody else that they don't know or don't respect. So it wasn't none of that. It wasn't no disrespectful stuff. But at the end of the day, I said, man, I've never see you get emotional until you talk about this guy, Devin Haney. And, we went back and forth a little bit. It wasn't ugly. It wasn't nasty. It wasn't disrespectful. And I just said, you know what? At the end of the day, you know where I'm at. After that, I started watching from afar. I would tune in every now and again. I would give my little feedback. But I realized that some people like to put out things. And they like to capitalize on the fact that you like them. So earlier yesterday, this is what I heard. And I have a video that I'm going to post. It's called Big Cap Convention. But it's a video that I had, and I'm getting new to how to actually display it. But I'm going to go ahead and play this so everybody can hear it.
So I'm just curious, is Tank Davis paying you niggas to protect this man? Now, let's talk about this Duck family tree. The reason why Adrian Broner is on the Duck family tree for Devin Haney is because Devin Haney was trying to fight Adrian Broner. That's a fact. Not a debate. That's a fact. Devin was trying to fight that man. Devin never said that Adrian Broner is a piece of shit. He never said that Adrian Broner, is a dirtbag. He's not ready, blah, blah, blah. Devin has always give that man his respect. But he was trying to fight that man. That's the fact. Devin Haney called out Adrian Broner to fight. Adrian Broner went a different direction. That's a fact. It's not a debate. It's not a question. That's a statement. That is factually proven. He called out Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia went a different direction.
Mikey Garcia went a different direction.
He said he called out Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia went in a different direction. Before that, he said, and I'm gonna get to why they're shitting on Adrian Broner right now. I'm gonna get to why they're shitting on Adrian Broner right now. And this is another example of how anybody that says anything opposing, they're gonna get shitted on. So just yesterday, everybody had love and was looking forward and happy that AB was doing his thing. He come out and say that Devin got rocked. Devin got rocked. Tank almost stopped him. He come out and say that, and now you getting this where he's basically shitting on AB, basically saying that he's going to lie for Tank because they cool, right? So he said Adrian Broner went in a different direction. He said Mikey Garcia went in a different direction. Well, let's just see if that's a lie. Let's just see.
Previously on BodyWork Box.
Problem, right? The Zone got Mikey over there for $7 million. No. Let me finish. They got him over there for $7 million. Why they ain't offer him the fight with Devin? He over there. Mikey's over there. He fought. I never asked for the Mikey Garcia fight. But why?
I never asked for the Mikey Garcia fight.
Why not? I want the Mikey Garcia fight right now.
Why not? I want the Mikey Garcia fight right now.
There you have it. So this video, the one that I played, and I can actually show everybody, like it's actually a video. I got a video. It's gonna come. It's called Big Cap Convention. That's just it. I'm getting new to the screen sharing thing, but I have a video, right? That I did. I did this video on August the 4th, 2021 is when I put that video out. And at the time, I gave Ness credit because Ness used to be all over it. He used to be dogmatic, and he knows because he has all the resources. So he was actually talking to Bill, and he was basically, because after that, Ness went on to tell him, he said, why? And you could hear the frustration. He was like, why not? And he went on, and Bill Haney said, I don't want the Mikey Garcia fight right now. Ness was like, why not? He went on to tell Bill Haney, that's how you become the A side. So that video, I put that video out on August the 4th of 2021. We're in December of 2022. In 2 more months, that's going to be a year and a half. And this man is on here asking people, are they getting paid to protect Tank? And they still walking around lying, talking about Mikey Garcia. Now, that's one of many, many examples I can tell you. And you heard him say, there's facts. That's not something that is not a fact. It's not. I heard a video the other day talking about, oh man, I love Tank. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I go at him so hard is because the reason why I go at him so hard so that everybody else don't. Some old gaslight making you think you crazy type shit. That's no kind of whatever, because when it comes to somebody inside of that organization, there is no accountability. No, they'll put out an agenda, and then they will actually start having other people echo that same agenda. So this Mikey Garcia never ducked Devin Haney. And to make matters worse, if you want to go back and do your research, it was talks about it. People were floating it around whether he was going to do it, because he was actually talking about Robert Easter too. He was talking about fighting Robert Easter. He was talking about fighting so many different people, you know what I'm saying? And it was always the other person's fault. Always, well, I'm a boss. I can do whatever I want to do, and I can make whatever moves I want to make. But that never was the case. That's back when I used to call DAZN ADT. DAZN has actually changed a little bit. But he wasn't a boss. He had some kind of control, being his own, having a co-promotion. So, he probably had better access to the numbers, probably had a little bit more say in who, which kind of makes it worse because when you look at the resume, the level of competition, this is not to take away from you having undisputed. And I hate that I have to always say that. Everybody salutes and respect the fact that you did that. We know how political, look at what Earl's going through as far as getting the belts. We know how it is trying to get those belts. That's not the point. Everybody on the opposing end of that young man gets trashed, gets shitted on. People lie, and then those lies get perpetuated. So as late as yesterday, a year and 4 months later, they're still saying that Mikey Garcia basically ducked Devin Haney, or he went in a different direction. And you hear Bill Haney basically saying, we never asked. He said, I never asked for the Mikey Garcia fight. Now, I remember when Tank was on Brian Custer, when they asked him that question, he said, man, I never requested, who's the big name? I never requested to go ask none of them guys. They made content for like a month about that. They still doing it. Here you have Bill Haney. See, when you're not paying attention, or when you're a casual fan, and being a casual fan means that you got other shit that you got going on. You might be a diehard football fan like I used to be. You know what I'm saying? I am still a diehard Philadelphia Eagle fan, but that just means you got a lot of other things. You don't have time to sit around and watch the videos and see who said what and what this. So your mind can be played upon. Your pockets can be preyed upon because people will regurgitate rhetoric and spit out lies to get you to come back. And you don't have the time to sit down and say, okay, no, he's lying. But some people who been through it, who watch videos every day, who make content every day, who know the storylines every day, we see it. It's unpopular to go against certain people. You say certain names, a lot like a Canelo. You say something bad about him, you got to deal with all his fans. So what you find is you have a whole lot of people trying to acquiesce to everything, hence politics. That's why it's always a left or a right. It's two extremes when we know that life is not like that. It's not hot or cold. You know what I'm saying? It's not all the way up or all the way low. We know that there's a happy medium in life to where it takes discernment. In some cases, you're right here. In some cases, you're right there. It takes a level head and a sober mind to actually really realize how to actually look at these things. These people will prey on you. They will prey on your pockets. And they will start making out agendas to cater to who has the money, who they stand the best chance to see the numbers. I know because when you do numbers about certain people in certain videos, as long as you keep talking about them, you're going to hit a certain peak. What happens is you get wave riders. You get people who, in that same time frame, a year and a half ago, who was shitting on Tank, now has an opportunity to speak on his platform. Why? Because it's a perception that those numbers are going to do something when you don't need to do that. Why? Because once people start paying you and donating you and sponsoring you, you no longer can say what you want to say. You got to keep those numbers. You have to keep people watching. You have people that you might have given somebody a wrench and they got a personal vendetta. So you can like everything that I say, but if you could agree with everything, I've seen it. I've lost subscribers because of it. You can like everything that I say about boxing, but if it come down to Spence and Bud and I say, all right, I got Spence, I'm going to lose you. You're going to discount everything. So if you have a wrench on the channel like that, you're going to be blocking people and saying anything and acting emotional, which fast forwards me to a video I watched last night with Shakur and Devin Haney. And we had that going on. And I want to say salute, shout out to H Money, you know what I'm saying, for that, just to give credit for where I saw it and where it took place. Want to say shout out for having Shakur and Bill and Devin on there. That was blockbuster. It was a lot of revelation. But after that, after everybody saw and heard what they saw and heard, you still have people on the panel with a personal vendetta against Shakur, speaking, over talking people, pushing an agenda because they got to protect. Now, the way I saw it was Shakur by himself with the promoter and his father, promoter, trainer, whatever, and you had Devin. It was already a bad situation anyway. Shakur should not have been by himself. Shakur should have had other representation sitting there beside him. That did not happen. What happened was you had Shakur wanting to address Bill, and you can hear him trying to be respectful. And then you had Devin jumping in when he felt like Shakur was saying too much. So it was almost like a double team type situation anyway. At the end of the day, the revelation that we got was behind closed doors, these guys had a silent agreement. These guys behind closed doors had already agreed that because of their size and where they're at in their careers, pretty much as one moved up, the other one's gonna move up. Just like how I think Earl, Jamel, and Jamal. I think that the plan is for all of them to move up lock and step. And that's cool. If everybody's going to do that, lock and step and move up, that's cool. Because most people pretty much reason or understand or think, okay, that's probably how that's going to work. Because they said, I mean, in the case of Earl and Mel, they share the same trainer. That's why I never would want to push for that fight. I'm like, what, Derrick James going to spend 6 rounds over there and then 6 rounds over there? Or what? I mean, what's going to happen? Like, that's why I never push for it, because that's a conflict of interest. And I don't think Derrick James should have to pick and choose, even though Earl had him first. I don't think that should happen. However, these two gentlemen basically revealed to us that they basically had an agreement. Bill basically confirmed it. And the reason why we know this is because he was offended that Shakur got in the ring and called out Devin Haney after he beat Conceição. That's what he was offended by. So obviously they had a silent agreement. And it wasn't one of those things where, oh man, you could have just came and told me. No, they had an agreement. They had an agreement that they were going to pretty much move up and probably settle around and meet somewhere up at one of the higher weights, like a 147 or something. So us pushing for it, him actually getting in the ring and saying, Devin, you know, I did a segment on it, according to my old head, about Shakur actually coming out and saying whatever he said. He said he's supposed to talk like that. Yes, you're supposed to talk like that, but these guys had a silent agreement. So Bill was kind of perturbed with Shakur for doing that. So then he goes on the mixtape tour and he starts talking. He starts doing all these things, saying whatever, you know, and then Shakur takes offense, like, hold on, man, you kind of like ODing with it. Yeah, I got in the ring and called him out, but you ODing on it. He's like, what you mean ODing? And you being extra and making it seem like I'm ducking you, and you know that's not the case. And he's like, well, you know, Bill was like, well, you know, I always told you I'm going to do my part and what I need to do to actually promote the fight. See, that's the problem. The problem with Bill Haney is he thinks that the shit that he's doing, yeah, it's promoting the fight, but what it does is it fucks a whole lot of people up. Because once again, everybody that's on the opposing end of a Devin Haney gets shitted on. We in a social media age where you can say, oh man, I called, or you can talk about sparring 8 years ago like it really means something today. It don't even mean shit when you get up under the big bright lights, because I mean, man, seeing somebody beat the shit out of Tank, man, it's highly unlikely. I mean, not in that setting. Not in that setting. And at that age, it's highly unlikely. It's highly unlikely. So he thinks that his idea of promoting is basically going around and stirring up a whole bunch of shit with a lot of people. Kicking up a whole lot of dust, getting a whole lot of reaction, knowing damn well they got a plan. I said a couple months ago that Devin is Bob's new bud. People went ham. Oh, no, he's not. He's a boss. He could do whatever he wants. He could do this. No, he cannot, I was saying. Yes, he can. He'll drop those belts and go fight Tank right now at 140. Yes, he will. He'll fight. He'll do it. No, he won't. He's under a contract. It was revealed just last night, in the last couple days, when Devin was like, oh, man, we all know what Bob want. You know what I'm saying? We all know that Bob want, you know, Loma for me next, basically. So if you knew that the whole time, what is all this running around jaw jacking saying that everybody's ducking you when you knew that? Now, we bring it all the way up to last night where the two gentlemen were sitting next to each other or sitting across from each other on the live. And what many people saw was Bill basically trying to say that Shakur needs to go and get with Jay to go set up a meeting to try to make the fight. So I'm like, okay, so are you saying that Shakur is the A side? Are you conceding to that? Because this is the big issue with DHP. They run around saying, like, basically acting A side, A side, A side, and then when it comes time to make a fight, they play B side. Like, oh, we was waiting because every time Tank get a fight on deck, they say, oh man, we wasn't sent an offer. We wasn't sent an offer. So which one is it? If you want to fight, you know how to get with whoever. But it never dawned on y'all. It never dawned. That's why I was wondering why the energy wasn't the same to see Haney and Shakur right now. That's why I was wondering why that energy wasn't the same for that fight right now. And it was more energy to see Devin against Loma. And I'm thinking, well, why? Because Loma looks like food right now. And they judging him off his last performance. They know he's been out of the ring for a second with everything that was going on with his country. He looks like food right now. And I don't know how we're gonna give him credit. How are we gonna give him credit for beating Loma if he beats Loma? Because I was the one saying let's give him credit. They was telling me, oh no, he don't gotta fight Loma. Loma don't deserve shit. He don't owe Loma nothing. Loma ducked him. No, Loma went to unify all the belts with T.O. instead of defending his belt against Devin Haney. Simplest way to put it. Loma went, repeat after me, Loma went to unify all of his belts with T.O. instead of defending his belt against Devin Haney, who was not even his mandatory. That's another lie that they keep running with. He was not his mandatory. If he was his mandatory, that fight would have never took place between Loma and T.O. Right? So I'm not sure how we're going to give him so much credit for beating Loma this version. Well, I guess we can, because I guess people giving Ginger credit for beating the version of Triple G that he beat in the trilogy the last time. You know, so if I guess we do. We give him credit, you know. But I'm just saying the energy to do. When I was saying, yeah, go ahead and fight Loma, man. This would be boxing fixing itself and this and that. Yeah, go ahead and fight. They was shouting me down. Oh, nah, you just think he gonna get beat. That's the only reason why you want him to fight Loma. And it's always this energy. When you on one thing, like I was on one thing, I was saying he needed to fight Loma. When I was saying he needed to fight Loma and that he is Bob's new bud, they would say, oh no, you're just a hater. You know what I'm saying? You're always hating. That's all you are, you know? And I'm like, no, I just want to see him fight Loma. That'll be boxing fixing itself, because Loma is the reason why he got a belt. Got shot down. They decked him, man. They decked the boy. You know what I'm saying? When I was talking like that. So now all of a sudden, the other day, Ness was talking about how Devin could call up Mauricio Suleiman right now and get Devin to fight Regis Prograis right now. He could do that right now. Shakur was out of contract. He could do that right now. But now it's a big push for Loma. And I'm like, well, see, that's not really the best fighting the best when they're available. And if you and Shakur had a silent agreement that y'all gonna see each other at 47, because I kind of got that energy with Shakur before when they asked him about Tank. He kept saying down the line. Down the line. I'm like, okay, so do we buy into the energy? It's like, that's what's so confusing. Do we buy into the energy when y'all going back and forth and y'all saying what y'all going to do, and then y'all the baddest and this, and then you saying, well, for my first time moving up, like, do we buy into that energy? Because in real time, when we buy into that energy, it's like you got two fan bases shitting on each other. And a fan, like for me to be a fan of Tank and a fan of Shakur, Okay, well, if they say, oh, you got to pick a side, and I say, all right, well, I got Tank on this one. I got Shakur against everybody else, but I got Tank on this one. You making me draw a line in the sand right there, and I don't need to draw that line in the sand at that point in time because that fight's never going to happen. Not right now, not anytime soon. Y'all don't have no plans on fighting. So this leads me up to the AB thing. So now AB is getting shitted on because he said that Tank cracked Devin. I think it's much like what happened with the Gamboa fight. Now, if you watch the Gamboa fight, Tank hit that man and he tore his Achilles. After that, he was like wounded prey. Tank played with his food for the rest of the rounds. And people say, oh man, he was getting hit by Gamboa and blah, blah, blah. The bottom line is he stopped Gamboa with like 7 uppercuts. 7 of them to end the show. That's what really happened. That's what really happened. So I think that in the sparring session, that time ago, I kind of believe what AB said. He probably cracked Devin. They said, all right, man, let's go again. You got to think, you dealing with a young man and you dealing with morale. So they was like, they probably were like, man, hey, look, you know what I'm saying? You already done proved that you can get him out of there, like, if you really wanted to. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what you do because you don't want to break the morale or really hurt somebody at that young age. You don't really want to do that. So maybe he was out of shape. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it was that Devin was getting the best of him in the sparring after that. But AB said if he wouldn't have stepped in, you know what I'm saying? It got ugly. So then money was exchanged. That's a morale booster. That's a morale booster for a young man. Like if I'm sitting there and I'm arm wrestling my son, I'm gonna let him win sometimes. I would let him to build his confidence. So a lot of times, everybody want to do all these extremes where it's like, oh no, it's either this way or that way. When the truth is, a lot of time it's right down the middle. This is old sparring. Why are we talking about this? And it's not even a Loma deal on the table. But on the panel I was on yesterday, people were talking like they had some inside information. Like, oh man, you know that deal with Loma is done pretty much. They just ain't came out and announced. It's like, okay, well, how do we respect and believe any energy that Devin has for Tio? Like, what do we believe? Instead of being shitted on and called a hater. That's my thing. So, what came out in that meeting was Bill basically told Shakur that he needed to go get Jay and they needed to go into the office to call for the fight, right? And that real time, Shakur said, we can go together. Guess what happened? Devin Haney jumped in and said, oh man, when it happens, you know what I'm saying, we're going to do it for everything. And just deflection. And it's going to be down the line. So if you're going to engage in any kind of Shakur Devin talk and try to make it be some real animosity, the thing is they really want to be on some friend shit. The whole time they was just going to say whatever they needed to up against Tank to try to rile that up or whatever. And Shakur and Tank really, they got a good relationship too. I don't think that they run around like BFF, like they BFFs or nothing like that. But at the same time, it's mutual respect between the camps. It's mutual respect between the fighters. And you gotta think, Tank was like big bro when it was coming up with them anyway. So they probably look at him like big bro. It's the fans that try to create all this bullshit and then act like Tank ain't who he is. Bottom line. Whether you in this camp, not in this camp, whether you live up here, down there, whatever, you know talent when you see it. You know special or generational talent when you see it. Shakur is that as well. Devin is a highly skilled boxer. But if we want to compare resumes and all that, that's a whole nother conversation. What I want to get to is the ascension of Gervonta Tank Davis. That's really what I want to get to. I want to get to the ascension of Gervonta Tank Davis. And I think that what's happening right now is a lot of people don't really realize that the man is taking off. He gets a lot of criticism. Oh, he ain't never fight a black fighter. He ain't never fought this. He ain't never did that. We get a lot of that, right? But we seldom hear him get credit for the things that he is able to do. The fact that he is the smallest guy when he's actually fighting in these fights. That he did actually move up several weight classes. That he is more than a knockout artist. You can't be in there with facing a level of skill and talent that you're in there with and find a way to get him out of there. A la Devin didn't do anything with Gamboa. Tank toyed with that man. Devin didn't get rid of Linares. And this boxing, this pure boxing thing and all that, yeah, that's fine, but you're not going to be able, sometimes you're not going to be able to outpoint somebody. And somebody may lose a round or two. But if somebody lose 4 rounds, let's just say somebody lose 4 straight rounds and they knock you out in the 5th. Like, what credence do you really give it? Like, what credence do we give Kell Brook for boxing, for boxing Bud's ears off before Bud turned into a maniac and stopped him? What credit do we give him? What credit do we give him for that? What credit do we give Caleb Plant for winning all those rounds against Canelo and being up on my scorecards and then getting stopped? What credit do we give those guys? But Rolly get all the credit for touching Tank because statistically he wasn't even winning those rounds. Mario Barrios, he wasn't even winning those rounds, but it's a narrative. It's a narrative because Floyd went over to the corner and said blah 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 whatever to try to create a spark. He was real creative in creating that spark. It's the same thing that Bud did against Sean when he was up against Sean. Now, basically Bomac, what Bomac did when Bud was up against Sean Porter, pretty much the same thing. Although many could say that Sean Porter was, I don't know. It's argued whether or not Sean Porter was winning that fight before Bud, got him out of there and Kenny threw in the towel. But what credit do we give people when you win or you have some success because you might see somebody touch somebody more? And then, but then the same excuse when Linares, made Devin do the stanky leg. It's boxing. It happens. Like what? So you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't. And the flip-flop like that, that's the whole thing that bothers me a lot of time. That's why you kind of like gotta stay focused. You gotta have a plan. You gotta have laser-like focus, But what I saw, what I'm seeing is a lot of people were really praying that Tank and, Floyd and all them guys, they were really praying that them guys was not gonna make it. Well, they finally got their wish. So we think, because this is supposed to be where Tank is actually spreading his wings, right? And he's starting to fly, right? And so he got Hector Garcia on the menu, he's an Olympian. This would be a second division. This third division. I think this is third division. But he's a champion. He beat Chris Colbert, people didn't really know a lot about him going into that fight. So, maybe it might not have, maybe it was one of them Bivol Canelo situations where Chris Colbert thought it was sweet, but Hector Garcia was really that guy all along. And the confidence I'm hearing from Hector Garcia is that this is a legitimate fight. He really has the confidence. He's not just talking like how Rolly do, because Rolly's going to have success outside of boxing. Rolly is entertainment. Rolly it's hard to not like Rolly to a certain extent, unless he's on the other side of the menu, this go time. It's hard not to like Rolly because he's a character, he's entertaining, he's funny, but he's not talking shit like Rolly. This guy is serious. He's an Olympian. He knows that if he can upset the apple cart, he is set. He's already seen the success that Cruz have. People are upset that Cruz gets publicity for actually sharing the ring with Tank. People are upset that Rolly gets publicity for having shared the ring with Tank. These are people. You can't control how the people think and feel. That's where you get the people's champ. If the crowd and the consensus of the people are saying, we want this, you can't deny that. So he's getting no credit for being matched up with Hector Garcia right now. And what's crazy, because if you are spreading your wings and this is going to be your first venture outside, or you done flew the coop, you done got out of the nest. If this is the first time, Give him some credit for actually taking a decent fight. He didn't fight his sparring partner. He didn't fight his sparring partner like Loma. He didn't fight his sparring partner like Wilder. I mean, he could have. Right? And then he's the one that's finally going to get Ryan, even though you got to give Ryan credit for Luke Campbell, because that's who Lomachenko got the belt off of, Luke Campbell, right? So if Ryan come by and there's some triangulation and Ryan come by and he stop him after suffering some adversity and get knocked down, we got to give him credit for Luke Campbell. But they say ain't nobody fighting each other. The funniest thing is, it was okay when Devin was getting ready to fight Rolly. It was okay when Devin was getting ready to fight Ryan. They didn't get the job done. That's back when I was saying, okay, well, Devin does what he's supposed to do inside the ring. You know what I'm saying? He exercises his ability to box inside the ring. He comes out with the victory. You know what I'm saying? It might not be a lot of oohs and ahs, but at the end of the day, he gets the job done, right? I was saying, well, okay, what is Bill's job then? Bill's job is to land the fights, right? He's a trainer, but it's also to land the fights. They didn't get the Garcia thing done. So how was it good when Ryan was getting ready to fight Devin? But now Tank lined up to fight him, and now he ain't shit. The same thing with Rolly. When Rolly was getting ready to fight him, oh man, you know, everybody was up for that Rolly and Devin. Everybody was up for it. And at that point in time, they didn't even really want to see Tank and Rolly. Nobody really wanted to see that. They didn't make the deal happen with Rolly. Rolly came out and did a video. Rolly, back at that time, he said Devin knows that he needs a big name to sell a fight. He cannot sell fights without having a big name on the other side. Rolly, that's when I did that video. You can learn a lot from a dummy. Buckle up. Remember when I did that video? That's what Rolly said. Because you can learn a lot from a dummy. And Rolly is a lot smarter than people give him credit for. But because he likes to play for the cameras and all this, people want to shit on him. Just like T.O. He's a young man. A young, jubilant man. They want to play around, and you know what I'm saying? They're young men, man, so they play around, but everybody want to come out with the pitchforks and the knives or whatever and just discount everything that they did, you know? So it was okay when Rolly was going to fight Devin, but not when Tank. So now we got Ryan Garcia, and they want Ryan Garcia to fight anybody. They just don't want him to fight Tank. Like, make that make sense, man. If y'all saying everybody got to fight each other, wouldn't this be the initial step into everybody fighting each other? I thought that Cruz fighting Shakur would have been another step with everybody fighting each other, right? That's what I thought. But it's a whole different standard when it comes to Tank. That's what I'm starting to see. I salute the man because he let it be known before that he wanted the big fights. He aligns himself in a position to be able to fight Hector Garcia, and then, you know, 3-4 months later, come right back around and fight Ryan. And he's giving Ryan another big shot, because you got to think, Ryan pulled out on him. He went on Mike Tyson and said God told him he was going to knock Tank out in like the second round. I was like, oh man, you playing with God now? Like, you playing with that? I mean, you know, that was just bold. When you go back and you try to look that up on Tyson podcast, they done edited that part out now. You ain't going to be able to see that. You would have had to record it or have it and posted it in your old video. But they edited that part out where Ryan said God told him he was going to knock Tank out. And I think that's what caused a lot of his anxiety, because he knew he was lying through his motherfucking teeth. It was for the cameras. People ran with it, just like when Charlo was on Tyson. People ran with that, and then Charlo come out later and say he was in negotiations at the time of the Tyson podcast. Nobody comes back and be like, dang, that's why he couldn't talk like that. Nobody says that. Somebody got to do the body work, though. And that's what the case was. So people go on Mike Tyson's podcast and salute to Mike Tyson. Very good show. They go on there to cap, to get the eyeballs, to say a whole bunch of outrageous shit. You know what I'm saying? It's a vibe. So they go on there and do that, and people believe them and run with it. And then, you know, it take months, you know what I'm saying, weeks, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes maybe, you know, a lot of time before people come back and clarify it. But wouldn't Ryan fighting Tank, wouldn't that be the initial part of everybody's starting to fight everybody. Oh, no. I get it. But because Ryan didn't fight Devin. But because Ryan didn't fight Devin, then it's not good for him to fight Tank. Oh, and because Rolly didn't fight Devin, that fight was shitted on, and Tank ain't shit, and Rolly ain't shit. I'm thinking, man, I think Tank, in the case of Rolly, man, I think Tank might have saved Devin, man. And Cruz, I don't even look. I got Shakur beating Cruz, but I don't know what will happen if Devin fought Cruz. I don't know what will happen, man. So it's a 50-50 fight. But when you get up to a certain prestige, you have all the belts, like a Jermell Charlo. Because I always say, if it was all about belts, every day somebody would be doing a video about Jermell Charlo. If it was all about belts, level of competition, resume, who's proven, who's solid, Jermell Charlo will be having couple hundred videos every week done about him. A couple. If it was all about that, but it's not, right? I think people really don't like the fact that the man is actually he actually made something out of himself. Sometimes you do have colorism in boxing as well. You got some light skin against dark skin shit. It's weird. We be talking about racism sometimes and all that, and how this and that, but it's colorism in boxing as well. Then you got tribalism. Tribalism is a big one. If I'm not down with that clique over there, I can't agree with shit that they say. If you not down, if you part of that clique over there and you agree with something I say, I ain't gonna let them know that. I ain't gonna let them know that, yeah, I agree with you. You know what I'm saying? But, I ain't gonna let them know that, though. Why? Tribalism. And right now, because the only way to really, I guess, make the bread or whatever is to keep bringing up and keep trashing somebody that's popular, somebody that has a name, somebody that gets Googled every day, somebody that has all that attention. That's a means of income. So some of the shit that I say, people may get a little pissed off because they feel like I'm trying to fuck with their money. I'm really not trying to fuck with nobody's money. I'm really just trying to be real about boxing, because this shit shouldn't be like the news, man. When you don't know who's getting paid to say what on the news and where this coming from when you actually watch the news or you watch CNN or something like that. Boxing shouldn't be like that. Boxing should be like, look, man, we want the best to fight the best. Keep it a buck on this situation. You know what I'm saying? Keep it a buck on this situation. Why? Because those chickens are going to come home to roost eventually. You're going to get found out. The minute you got to fight somebody that when you play around like that, when you be playing around like that, look at what happened to Zerto. Zerto Ramirez. People were on his jock strap. I even saw him. I was even looking at him like, okay, man, hey, I like, he got some skills, he got this and that. But because he had got up there to 40, he got like 40, I think he was like 40-0 or something like that. Because he got up to that level, he faced somebody in Billable, and then look at what people say, oh, man, all this time, he ain't been this. Look at that. We got Jaime Munguia. We don't know. I know that Jaime Munguia has an excellent skill set. I think somebody with any kind of lateral movement will actually give him problems, but you got to have enough to get rid of him. I think a younger Gabe Rosado, that fight would have took it on it would have had a whole different complexion, a younger Gabe Rosado, right? But let's look at Jaime Munguia. Let's look at him. He got 40 wins. They praised him in order to shit on Jamal Charlo. They praised him because he stopped Montiel at 47. We don't know if Montiel was drained when it was down there at 47. Because I don't see too many videos about Montiel. People really didn't know much about him either, except for the people that rock with him. So in order to shit on Charlo, they was praising Munguia for getting rid of Montiel. But then because Montiel and Charlo went the distance, even though the scores was 10-2 in favor of Charlo winning 10 rounds, they shitted on Jamal Charlo for that performance, right? They were saying, oh, man, he don't want to see Munguia. Come to find out, Munguia had been Andre's mandatory forever. A la Ryan, like the whole situation with Ryan and Devin, a true mandatory situation. He was in the same thing for Boo Boo. But we're gonna rock with the narrative that Munguia is gonna slap whoever to sleep and all this. But it's one of them cases to where you done got up here to 40-0. When you finally get in there with somebody that can get with you or better, is a high chance that you're going to be exposed. And I like the skill set that Munguia have. He is a tough cookie. I just think that how can we see the best? So how is Munguia up there at 40-0? He don't get none of this attention that Tank get. He don't get none of this energy. It's just now, people are just now starting to call this man out and say, hey, man, are you finally going to fight somebody, man? Like, we respect you, you know what I'm saying? You got a skill set, you got power, but you going to really fight somebody. That's what's going to happen. So we say that because I believe that what Tank said he's going to do, what he said in the beginning of the video, you right, I'm the only one that can stop myself because, you know, they prey on the man whenever he got into some legal troubles, praying that it wasn't going to work out for him. They come right back around. I don't never talk about his personal life, but then you hear them talking about his personal life, talking about credit and snatch, man, and all kind of stupid, crazy shit that they say, you know what I'm saying? But they love him. I'm like, man, hey, people don't need that kind of love. But it's no disrespect when it comes to people like Loma. They still ride on the fact that that Loma ducked Tank. They still be saying that. They still got to bring up that Tank ducked Loma. They still come up and they pop that up, and it's like, man, he said, hey, let's make it happen. When Tank said, let's make it happen, then all that, and why now? Why you want to fight? It's always some new narrative. The bottom line is the man got 2 fights lined up. He's locked up. Devin is free as of right now. Devin can go fight Regis Prograis right now, and he can go fight Shakur Stevenson right now. So if people had the same energy that they have for Tank, if they took and put that energy over there to 2 people who don't have a fight, which is Shakur and Haney, because I've seen more reasons as to, oh man, why y'all want to push? Oh man, y'all been knew that Loma wanted to. But no, when I was saying that he needed to fight Loma, people were saying, oh, he can do whatever he wants. He's undisputed. The energy is not the same. The energy is not the same. So stop running around talking about people are getting paid for Tank. Just be happy that he's spreading his wings, that he has 2 valuable opponents, whether their last names are Garcia or not. So what is 2 Garcias? Both of them brothers can box. They can. And they both come in and they packing, you know, they coming with their best when they come to see that man. So I think we need to give him credit. We need to actually salute him if he did actually step out on his own too, and he is actually doing his own things. We actually seeing him being vocal. He rarely even went on the podcast that they got over there for him. He barely be going on there. Just respect the fact that he went on there. He was actually willing to engage with some people, a notable person on there. And what'd he do? He fed everybody. He fed y'all. But he don't get no love for that, right? Just appreciate what he doing, where he going, and the fact that he has accomplished what a lot of people haven't accomplished. We all want to see him fight the best, but we all got to keep it a buck on the fact that the best aren't fighting the best. Shout out to Aaron Jones. Whoa. Shout out to Ryan Allen. For real, though. They can. Yeah, they can, man. I'm like, it kind of bothers me. It kind of bothers me, you know what I'm saying, when I hear a lot of people saying that, why y'all pushing for that fight now? You already knew Loma. You already knew Loma. You already knew they wanted to do that. It's like, well, yeah, we knew it was a plan, but like they were being so coy about the fact that that was the plan. So now, if y'all already knew it was Kambosos twice, and then Loma, and then Shakur. It's like, no, we didn't, because Devin was acting like he didn't even want to. He's like, man, I don't got to give him no rematch if I don't want to, knowing damn well he had to. So my whole thing is, in hindsight, why do they take us through that bullshit in real time just to get exposed in hindsight? That's exposure. If you right now, man, I'm just gonna put it out there. Right now, if it's Saturday night, you can go to this stadium right here and you can see Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson. Right? And it's on ESPN. You can go see Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson in this stadium, or you can go over here to this stadium and you can see Devin Haney and Loma right now. The fact that Loma is in the state and in this questionable what kind of state he is in, that's one thing. That's one thing. The fact that Shakur and Devin Haney are closer to the same size and they know each other, that's another thing. Which fight would you go to? Which fight would you go to? Aaron Jones, salute, bro. Like Floyd said, if Top Rank and these YouTube channels think Shakur Devin is the best, why the fuck they not pushing for them to fight? Then you can put Tank in a position to fight the winner. It's so simple. Exactly, Aaron Jones. Exactly, Aaron Jones. That's why I rock with you, man. You always keep it a buck. Like, I don't know why this whole energy. It's like, man, they got over there and was acting like, oh, that shit. Like, I ain't know you was over here. Like, you knew I was over here when you signed over here. I was here first. I wasn't in that division, but I was here first. So why that fight can't happen? The energy just changed, man. And I'll be damned if I'm gonna sit up here and let people act like I'm stupid or I'm slow or I'm dumb because they want to ride and appease all these other people and all these big channels and all. Fuck all that shit, man. We don't gotta appease them. And I think that's the part people don't realize. This is the reason why the fights aren't getting made. This is a reason why. You push agendas, you get everybody on this motherfucking bandwagon that's to thinking and believing this. It's like, but when you strip it all down, it's like we are counterproductive sometimes in some of the things that we put out there, because the shit that we putting out there gets attention, grows legs, and now all of a sudden there's a consensus that we don't want to see that fight. It makes no sense. Not to me. I want to see Shakur and Devin right now. And the fact that Shakur said we can go together. Devin went in there and said, "Oh, but when we do it, when we do it, when we do it." Aaron Jones, facts. Ryan Allen, people always say Dad want that smoke. All this do is talk nothing, have not happened yet. He just smoking mirrors, and Cam was a damn bum. And that's what okay. So you right. I believe, and people say I make excuses for T.O., but I'm a person that I actually use my brain. You know what I'm saying? I actually juice my noodle and I use some critical thinking, and I say, you know what? I see where T.O. struggled with Nakatani, and some of it was the height and the length. Because he came out and said, I ain't never fight nobody tall after that. And it was a struggle. That was a close fight, right? But he came out with the victory. But also before that, he had some challenges in his personal life going into that fight, right? So we saw what could happen when T.O. not in a good headspace. You know what I'm saying? We could see what happened. He had family turmoil, right? Going up against Kambosos, T.O. was not in a good headspace, right? So this is my thing. And I'm not gonna get anybody's personal life and all that, right? But a lot of these people that push these agendas, they come from a big black organization. It's a big black organization. Inside of that organization, you have a lot of men that actually went through the fact that, okay, you might have went and you might have got with somebody, right? And you might have had a child with somebody that you necessarily might have been premature. Like if you had your first child when you around 21, your brain ain't fully developed till you're 25, right? So you and Shorty don't work out. So now what happened? They use your baby against you. Now you got this new little thing, you got this new little creature you done made that you can't see, you can't touch. Oh, if you call and they're busy and they don't answer, okay, it's fuck you. If they call you and it's your time to see or talk or hear from the baby, if they call you and you busy and you call them right back, it's, oh, well, I called you and you wasn't there, so I guess you didn't want to see your baby. Let's not act like that shit don't happen, man, when it comes to you having a baby with somebody and you going through some shit. They act like T.O. wasn't going through some shit when that happened. T.O. was going through some shit when he went into that Kambosos fight. His father didn't give him the best counsel, but his father was allowed to make mistakes too. He's growing as a coach as well. He hasn't been to this level that he got T.O. This is his first time, man. Like, so going up against Kambosos, he had a bad night at the office. He went in there, over bullish, thinking that he could just use his power. He wasn't in a good headspace. Kambosos get the belts. Devin go over there and put on a clinic. He get all those belts. But just because you got all those belts from Kambosos, that does not mean that you're the creme de la creme. You didn't go fight Comey for a belt. You didn't even fight Nakatani. You didn't fight Loma. So T.O. fought Nakatani, Comey, and Loma, and Kambosos. And Devin fight Kambosos. And we're going to ride everything that T.O. did off. Going through the same weight issues. At least T.O. was about his shit when he's like, man, fuck it, I gotta move up. I've been struggling with weight for too long. He grabbed another, said, I'm moving up. He getting ready to fight an eliminator to fight Regis. But the funny thing is, just like in the video the other day I put out there, Devin had energy for T.O. just last week. And let's put it out there. He had energy for T.O. just last week. And I'm like, how you got energy for T.O. when T.O. was getting ready to fight an eliminator with Sandor Martin to fight Regis? When you can go fight Regis? It's cap. It's cap. It's top. I'm about to start calling it top cap, man. This is top cap. And it's not the fact that they want to promote the young man. It's not the fact that they want to promote Devin Haney. It's not. It is not the fact that they want to promote and to get him the numbers and all that. It's how they go about doing it. It's how they go about doing it. It's like you don't have to do all that. Like, you don't have to do all that. You don't have to do all that. It was a dude a year and a half ago. I seen this dude on Tank on their podcast. It was a dude. He was arguing me down about Devin and Tank. And I was telling him, hey, man, like, I don't know what you're seeing with Devin, man. Like, we was going back and forth. I got the receipts. We was going back and forth. How about him regurgitating that same shit to the dude I played? Oh, man, we don't got to shit on one fight to uplift for that. Like, but that wasn't the mentality back then. Oh, no, because now you finally caught a hold of Devin bullshit, and now you turning coat. But you can't change your stripes, brother, because that's all you going to do is flip-flop. I don't flip-flop. I keep it a buck. And the stance that I be taking a lot of time in real time because I don't play that bullshit. I'm not going to buy into it. No, I ask questions. I was like that in school. Back when I was going to church, I was like that in church. I'm always going to ask questions. I'm always going to be insensitive. Like, hold on, that don't make sense. Make this make sense. Why? Oh, no, hey, man, hold your questions, man. No, because I got to make sense of all this. And the only thing is that he does have to attach himself to another name to get a fight. Tank don't have to do that. Tank, I don't know why he get a thug image. You know what I'm saying? He gets an image, you know, and the perception of, I guess his nemesis, if you want to call it Devin, is that, you know, it's kind of like a silver spoon type, you know, whatever. But we see Bel Air. We know what happened, man. Don't act like rich people don't have problems. That's my problem. People be acting like, oh, because you came from a 2-parent household and this like shit was just sweet. Shit wasn't just sweet. Then it's all this, oh, we eat off of gold-plated spoons and my house and echoes. It's just a lot of stuff to where it's like you don't really have to do that to sell your fight. You don't have to do that to sell your fight. What you should do is go sign with Shakur and put them flute flops on them. If you can go put them flute flops on Shakur, maybe you don't have to talk about your money so much. Go put something on film with you getting rid of a real one. And Shakur, a fight that can happen. Why wait till later? Tomorrow ain't promised. They all this down the line. Tomorrow is not promised. Tomorrow's not promised. You can go in there and get hit in the head or have a bad night and it's over. We seen it happen. Don't act like we don't. Ryan Allen. And thanks for the support, bro. Thanks for being here, man. Devin will not move up to 140 because if he do and don't jump in line for that WBC, he going to look like a hoe. So he going to stay at 135. Yeah, man. Give me 1 second real quick. 1 second, y'all. All right, y'all, I'm back, man. You know, I had got a package at the door, man. But let's see. There go the link, man. You know, let's chop it up, man. But we gonna have a level head. Ain't gonna be no shitting on nobody. You know what I'm saying? You got something you want to get off your chest, I done put the link. You know what I'm saying? I done put the link up here. You know, if you got something you want to get off your chest, if you got anything you want to get off your chest, anything you want to say, any perspective, whatever, you know, have at it. Have at it. I don't think he will either because I commented on this in my video the other day. It was a point in time with Jamal Charlo and Devin Haney. They were on FaceTime together. They were talking on FaceTime. And Jamal Charlo was like, hey man, you know, I'm kicking it up here with Regis. Cause they all cool. He was like, I'm kicking it up here with Regis, man. You know what I'm saying? You want to get with Regis? You said whatever. It was crickets. Devin ain't say nothing. He didn't say anything. So I'm like, man, like, I never tell somebody to be humble. I would just say it's a level of humility when you're doing certain things. Just like in my profession, man, I get up on roofs. I work with high voltage electricity. I work with HVAC equipment, fans, fan motors, blades, big ass transformers, refrigerant, ladders, all kind of dangerous shit. If I don't have a level of humility when I go out here and I'm doing my job, especially the fact that I'm driving, I'm in DC. You know what I'm saying? I might be in Naylor Gardens. I might be anywhere. If I don't have a level of humility while I'm doing my job, I can get fucked up. That's just the bottom line. I would never tell somebody to be humble because being humble is having a low value of one's self-worth. I would never tell somebody to feel like that. I'm just saying you should have a level of humility. Don't run around beating your chest like you King Kong. And we know that you ain't really trying to fight all the best. I don't know where you get all this credit for trying. Like everybody always say, oh man, he's trying to get all the smoke, or he wants all the smoke. It's easy to say that. It's easy to say that because I'm like, well, if you want all of the smoke, make it happen. Ryan Allen, Dev don't want none of this. It's his daddy. Wow, you think he getting avatar? I call that avatar. You know what I'm saying? Ryan Allen, I call that being avatar. It's the same thing. If you think about it, it's the same thing that just happened with Chris Eubanks Jr. and Connor Ben. I did a video about that saying don't be avatar. It's the same thing that happened with Sean Porter and Kenny Porter. It's the same thing. And Derrick James came out and said something about it when it came down to Sean Porter and Kenny Porter. You know, I call it being avatar. It happened to T.O. You know, like you when you have a son, man, you kind of let, like, some things you can live vicariously through your son, you know what I'm saying? Because you there to give him the wisdom and the guidance to do it. But at some point in time, man, you got to take your hands off, man. You got to take their hands off because I ain't gonna lie, man, like, I don't ever see Devin, like, in a setting to where he don't gotta really, like, play it up for boxing. I believe he a cool dude. You know what I'm saying? It's just this persona or this image or this big ass front that's putting out there about him that makes me think that, is that really him? Is that really Devin? You know, I don't really think that I don't really think it's him. I think that his father, because he said, like he said last night, and people are going to be slicing that video up, man, so much. But like he said last night, when Shakur said, when Shakur was basically trying to check him, he said, man, well, I'm gonna continue to do what I gotta do to promote the fight. My man Ryan Allen said, damn, for real, I'm in DC doing the same thing. I work for Flock DC. Salute, man. Salute, Ryan Allen. You know, salute, man. Yeah, I'm all over the DMV, man. That's why I say, man, that's why it's kind of crazy to me that, you know, I've been out here riding. I've been riding for all of the fighters in the DMV. But I'm originally from Landover, Maryland. I grew up in Glen Reed Apartments right off of Martin Luther King. And in 98, I went to the Army. I joined the Army in 98. And I got out in 2005. I settled down in South Carolina. During the time when I was in the Army, I went to Korea for 18 months. I was in Iraq. I came back. And I settled down in South Carolina. I didn't think I was going to come up here. That's probably why I be sounding like Southern a little bit sometimes, you know, a country, as they say. But I moved. I left at 17, man. They say the roof of your mouth still forming when you're in puberty. So, you know, I left. And a lot of the places, I was down in Georgia. I was calling Atlanta my second home for a while, but I got out in 05, stayed in South Carolina, and I liked it down there. It hits a lot slower than DC. The money go a little bit further. I can get to the beach in like 2 hours. I can get to Myrtle Beach. I can get to Atlanta in, was it 3 hours to Atlanta. I can get to Charlotte in an hour and 15, 20 minutes. I can get back up to Maryland like 7 hours. You know, I loved it, man. I didn't think I was gonna come back, man. And I came back up here, and out of all places, I came back up here and landed in Baltimore. So, you know, I know the struggle. I know what it's like to be out here. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, and it's struggle all across. But I'm just saying, being from this area, you know, whenever I heard somebody disrespecting or just going too far on the Russells, I would check that shit. Whenever I hear somebody going on Tank, I would check that shit. You know, any of these fighters, Shakur, you know, him being up there, I would check that shit. Like all these fighters over here on the East Coast, like all this area, I know, like with a perk, like, man, well, you gotta be able to do more than box. You gotta be able to play football. You gotta be able to box. You gotta be able to run fast. You gotta be able to shoot hoops because you gotta be. It's so many people here. You gotta be ultra competitive. I know how it is for these young people, so I won't just get up here and shit on these dudes and not really act like I got no goddamn common sense or like I was young. Like when Earl got in this accident, I was like, damn. At that point in time, I was like, man, that's crazy. But at the same time, I remember when I was young and in the Army. and I was like, what? I got a DUI. I almost killed myself. I got a DUI, and so I know it can happen. I woke up. I was in the hospital. They said I cracked one of them. I was over in Korea. That's what make it worse. I was over there in Korea. They said I cracked one of them columns up under them bridges with a little Honda Excel. So I didn't look. When I looked, I said, damn, Earl. Damn, man. At that point in time, damn. I was saying, well, damn, who was his security? I mean, his security or his entourage or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But in hindsight, I was looking and I said, you know what? I was a young man before. Let me act like I made a mistake before. Like these dudes is young, they get hit in the fucking head. Like it could be done. So I don't have this. So all this extra hate, all this extra sauce they be trying to say I have for Devin, I don't. It's just I want him to stop ruining the reputations of everybody that's opposite of him on his way to the top. He already got to the top, but look at how many people he had to shit on or push a certain kind of narrative on to make himself look and sound and be a certain to cater to what? That's not you. And when somebody really put hands on you, like when, because I remember when Gary Antoine Russell had called. I remember when Gary Antoine Russell had called on Devin. They were like, oh, what does he have to offer? And he ain't got nothing to show. So counter shot. Porter denied it, but it was a bad look. Yeah, Porter, going back to that real quick, counter shot. Porter did deny it, but anytime it's on record to where you and your father practice throwing in the towel, I mean, I know you have conversations to where at some point, like, you know, when you first have a coach or periodically as you progress in your career, your coach had to say, hey, look, man, you know, if it ever come down to you going out on your shield or you living to fight another day, you already know what I'm going to do. I'm going to protect you, man. This shit, like, hey, you can make all the money, but we want you to be able to fight tomorrow. And now I ain't gonna let you out of there now. And if you get in there and get to being hard-headed, I ain't just gonna be all antsy and throw it in. But if it get to the point to where somebody about to like really damage your motherfucking brain, I'm pulling it. You know what I'm saying? Allah, what would Breland do? The reason why when Breland threw in that towel, we still have Deontay Wilder able to fight today. And people hate me for saying it, but Mark Breland was the hero in that situation. Aaron Jones, trust me when I say Tank fans are not on YouTube. Facts, Aaron Jones. They not on YouTube, man. They are not. You know what I'm saying? Aaron Jones. Errol admitted Errol admitted every fault. So why is niggas using that to bash him and over boxing at that? Like, when did these dudes start getting emotional over these fighters? Yeah, man, it's almost like it's a lot of similarity between Earl and Tank, man. It's a lot of similarity between Earl and Tank, man. It's like they have a little mystique about them. You know what I'm saying? They have their little ways, you know what I'm saying? But it's a lot of similarities. And I just think that, man, a lot of times, man, I think sometimes that these dudes remind them of somebody that they didn't like in their childhood, or maybe somebody that it might have been like the high school football player that was, you know what I'm saying, getting all the chicks and they wasn't. It's something about them that caused them to go extra, because I'm like, where's all this disrespect for Loma? Where's all the disrespect for Loma? And after you fought Linares, Devin, after he fought Linares, you know, he asked that man, how was his punching power? Like, dude, Tank gotta ask anybody after a fight, how was my punching power? Oh, man. Let me see, man. Once Bill and Devin started vouching for H Money, I knew ain't have no real fans. Yeah. Kirk Jones, that's his father talking. That's not Devin. Yeah, but at the same time, man, you can't. Come on, man. That's like, man, if I got, because you had it. I know you done grew up where you done been somewhere and you went to go see your cousins, you know what I'm saying? Maybe your cousin know that you could fight, you know what I'm saying? Or no, it might be like you might be going to the country where it's like a little bit more laid back, you know what I'm saying? And you coming from the city, so you already a little bit more aggressive and shit, and you get with your cousin, and your cousin like, man, shit, man, we be beating motherfuckers' ass and all this and all that, you know what I'm saying? And then, me being there is like, yeah, I might be beating motherfuckers' ass, but like if I don't ever jump in and be like, if I don't ever say nothing, like, oh man, my cousin, you know what I'm saying? We good. Then he's speaking for me. He's speaking for us. And so, Kirk Jones, one of the things we can't do, because when we saw that interview on the second Kambosos fight, when we saw that interview and they asked him, will he be going to face Loma? What did he say? Well, I gotta go get with my father, and I gotta ask him, and we gotta look at our body, my body, and how I feel and how I looked in the fight. Then we're gonna reassess, and he's pretty much gonna let me know. So you can't have your cake and eat it too. So he can't be speaking for you and all this and doing all that, and he the voice of reason. But then when he say some bad shit, he's like, oh man, that's just my dad. No, we're not buying that one. We can't let that one slide. And Aaron Jones, Kirk Jones, he told Shakur that his father is his mouthpiece. Yeah, his father is his mouthpiece. So, I mean, which is not bad. Your father can be your mouthpiece, but like, that same example. I gotta check my cousin. I gotta be like, hey man, hey cuz, chill, man. Like we ain't even on that right now. Like we not like stop advocate, stop. You gotta pull that back in because it you think it's promotion, but that's only on YouTube, man. Because it's not. The thing is, that's not equating the numbers. It's not equating to buys. It's not equating to butts and seats. So you gotta yeah, Bill Haney is a promoter. Yep, that's right, Aaron Jones. But you gotta think that it's not equating to numbers. He's not selling out. He got booed and it was empty seats in Vegas. And I'm gonna tell y'all this. This is probably one of the last things I'm gonna say before I wrap it up today, man. But I'm gonna tell y'all this. Much like how Shakur and Devin basically admitted on that show yesterday that they basically had a silent agreement. James Williams Trucking, who? But you know how they came out pretty much and admitted that they pretty much had a silent agreement, right? I think the bigger picture is that they all kind of had that notion. They all kind of had that notion that it was going to be one of them things where Devin and Tank, Devin and Shakur and Devin, that they all were going to fight, but it was going to be down the line. I think that they all had that agreement. They all had that agreement. Where it changes is because the energy coming from a particular individual. It's an energy coming from a particular individual that puts stuff out there, and then that makes it seem like, okay, well, we don't have an agreement no more. Like we're not gonna wait. Yeah, let's tell the fans. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, a little back and forth, a little jaw jacking, that might help. Let's tell the fans this, knowing that y'all have it down the line. It's like, okay, well, why do y'all get on here and act like maniacs when it come to Tank, but then Devin can't do no wrong? That's my whole thing. It's where it's actually somewhere in the middle. Because people be like, oh, here go Tank on social media again. But they all live on social media. Aaron Jones, right. All of them know they're going to fight. They trying to low-key Tank out, though. Yeah, they are. That's what I believe, man. Like, so I believe that they all knew that they was going to fight. You know what I'm saying? I think that when it comes time to do what they believe is promotion, James William Trucking. You disagree? Okay, well, I mean, I put a link in there. I put a link out there if you disagree. If you got time to hop on, but you got to say more than I disagree, brother. And I have no problem. I welcome people who disagree, but I don't know what you're disagreeing with. I don't know. So either put it in the chat, or I could put another link in there and you can hop on and tell us what you're talking about. There go another link, James Williams. We want to know what you disagree with. And this is not a yes man channel, so it's okay to disagree. We just want to know your logic. Enlighten us. What I see is Devin, he should be the A side to everybody, but the numbers don't dictate that. The belts, the fact he have all the belts dictate that, but the numbers don't. So he has to run around kind of creating a little controversy and creating a little buzz, because we don't even know Devin's numbers. This is a fact. We don't know Devin's real numbers. Aaron Jones. Right. No boxer is paying this channel. Ain't nobody paying this channel, man. Ain't nobody paying this channel. Even if they were, I'm like, hey man, you already know I'm gonna keep it 100. You know what I'm saying? You already know I'm gonna keep it $1 on you if you were. You know what I'm saying? So ain't nobody paying us to say ain't nobody paying me to say whatever I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? So what I believe is, look, this is what we gotta break down. We don't even know Devin's numbers. Because you gotta think about it. Remember when they would run around saying, oh man, Ryan don't even sell. He just got a social media following. All his fans live on Instagram, and we don't know because he fight on the app and he don't have no numbers. Well, up until Devin Haney and Kambosos, Devin Haney fought on that same app. We don't know his numbers. We know when he fought JoJo Diaz over there in his own backyard, we know that it wasn't sold out. It didn't have no record-breaking gate. It was empty seats. He got booed. That was in his backyard. That's like Tank coming out here in Royal Farms and it being empty seats and him getting booed. Like, what? The last time he was out here in Royal Farms, I was there. That shit was packed out. It was packed out. He didn't get booed. That's his backyard. This is his backyard. And I know if he went out there to the Ravens Stadium, man, you would not, man. It'd be so hard to get up out of this city, man. It would be ridiculous. Okay, so let's fast forward. The first fight he did was on ESPN with Kambosos, and it was in Australia. And why was the fight so big? Because all of the belts were being fought for in Australia with 50,000. You can't attribute that to Devin. You can't attribute that to Devin to go fight for the belts. They wasn't there to see him, but the narrative was they was there to see Devin. That's that yes man shit. That's not, people were not there. They were there, yes. He had fans and they wanted to see a great fight. You know what I'm saying? Because how they built up, like how the fight was being built, as far as being undisputed, yes. But you can't give Devin credit for them 50. And then guess what? If he was such a big draw, if he really was a big draw and we really knew the real numbers, then when they went back for the second time, it would have been more than 15,000 people in there. It'd have been more than 15,000. The second time around, it was only 15,000. He has not fought stateside. He has not fought. He has fought stateside. He has not had a fight with ESPN in this country yet. We have not seen him sell out yet. We have not seen him get a pay-per-view yet. And I think that what was going on with one part of the frustration. This is just me. I don't have no in sources. Like I said, the channel that talks about Tank and his channel over there, we have no affiliation. Nothing is over. We have no links. I have no clue. I don't talk to them. Like they don't talk to me. We have no relation. I don't know. This is my personal opinion. What I believe is behind closed doors, they knew that in order for Tank and Devin to fight, I think Floyd understood this as well. In order for Tank and Floyd to fight and for Devin Haney to get as much money as he wanted, and for the fight to be as big as it needed to be, that Devin and them had to actually build up their numbers. They got to a point to where they can pretty much throw anybody they want in front of Tank and they're going to do numbers. They're like, okay, well, if we built our guy up to this, now remember, Devin Haney left them guys. Devin Haney left Showtime, went over there to Golden Boy, and then went over there to Top Rank. So he got to take some ownership in that. He left, right? So then they get Tank, he blows up. He's getting numbers. You know what I'm saying? He's the numbers guy. He's the cash cow. He puts butts in seats. He brings the celebs out. He does all of that. He's become an attraction. Because they try to make that be, like a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? But he's become an attraction. He's become a boxing star where people want to come out and see him. Live gates breaking records in the Barclays. So he can go down to Atlanta and sell out. He can go up to New York and sell out. He can go to LA and sell out. So they know that Devin on his end, he has to get his weight, his pull, his audience, his, whoever's following after him, not just on YouTube. Because we get blinded by the fact that he got all these people on YouTube. Outside of YouTube, he got to be able to put butts in seats. I think that they knew that. So that's why I think Floyd and them wasn't in a rush to make that fight. Because they knew, all right, look, if we make this fight, it'll just be us breaking off a chunk of what we built out of our money to put over there and you know what I'm saying, pretty much give them. Which he pretty much said. That's why that was that whole in-house statement that he made back when he said, oh, we got enough fighters here at, at PBC and TMT that we can make this happen. When he was saying that, he's like, we're not going to go make somebody else a star. We're not going to go make somebody else a star. That's part of the allure of actually getting Ryan, because it's a different demographic. It's Latino versus black fighter. You're going to have the diehard, Latino hardcore boxing fans, then you're going to have your diehard, black fight fans. You got your diehard Tank only fans. You got your diehard Ryan only fans. And money-wise, and as far as seeing them two guys, at the ages that they are fighting, that's a more attractive fight. Numbers-wise, it makes sense. So instead of hating and saying, why are they doing that, why don't you get it to where number-wise and all that other stuff, it makes sense as well. And that's the whole thing. So I think that's why and like I said, I have no inside sources. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't have anybody I could reach out and ask these questions. This is just me, following along and actually doing everything that I needed to do to stay abreast of what's going on amongst all of these fighters. I'm not one of these fighters. I'm not one of these content creators just come on and just shit on one person every day, all day. Check out all the different content. I got up and coming people. I got my boxes to watch collection. I got, according to my old head, it's a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? So that's not my journey. So that's the place that I'm coming from on that subject. I think that they knew that. They knew the same thing with Shakur. And I think Shakur's almost there because Shakur did some numbers when he was up there in New Jersey. They came out for Shakur. Right now, the real reason why, and I don't know why they don't need to say it, the real reason why is because Loma is a more recognized one. I don't know if doing numbers is his thing, but he needs that. Devin needs that name. Putting that name on that resume would make a fight with anybody else after that so much bigger. I don't know why we don't just arrive at that conclusion. You don't got to shit on Tank to prop up Devin. You don't got to shit on Devin to prop up Tank. The truth is somewhere in the middle. Let's just keep it a buck. And as boxing fans always say, silence is consent. I want to say salute to Aaron Jones, man. He been rocking with me like he one of my day ones, man. He always give his feedback. He always keep it a buck. Even if I like a fighter and he don't really necessarily like him, he gonna let me know. That's the kind of people that I like around. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to thank everybody who tuned in. You know what I'm saying? I want to thank everybody who participated and gave, their thoughts on the channel or just came by and, put eyeballs on the screen, man. I really appreciate it. I do it because I love boxing, man. I just sat through damn near the Eagles is on right now playing the Titans, and I just sat here with y'all. So thanks everybody who came out today. I put the link out there. I thought that I would get some smoke. A lot of people be talking that bullshit online. But whenever I ask and request smoke, I never get it, man. I wonder if that's how Earl feel. Earl, is this how you feel, man, when you be looking for the smoke? Is that how you feel, Earl? You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man Earl, man. Earl the True Spence. But yeah, that's how I feel, man. In closing, I think Tank is on his ascension. He's showing progress. We gotta encourage the brother. Find a way to actually compliment somebody, man, instead of like always tearing them down. And just appreciate the fact that these guys get hit in the head for a living. In the case of Tank and Shakur, they actually have children. They actually have children. They actually fathers. So you know what I'm saying? Like they actually, have procreated. I think they deserve a little bit more respect just because of that. You know what I'm saying? Like they have little ones out here. They actually really out here really trying to feed their family. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I had, man. I just think that Tank getting ready to go ape shit. Tank getting ready to go ape shit, and I don't really think that it's nothing that the haters can do. We see people going over, crossing over and doing what they need to do to like latch on to the bandwagon and all that. It's all good, you know what I'm saying? Because some of them are fair weather, but just appreciate all of the young brothers. All the young brothers. And if you don't take anything else, man, away from what I'm saying, you gotta look at what happens whenever Devin and DHP and them have an opponent on the other side. Just scroll through the timeline. Look at put in Devin versus whoever, and then look at what comes up and watch he clout chased this. Oh, he disrespect this. Oh, he says that he's like, look at how many boxers are on the receiving end of all that bullshit coming from one fighter. It don't have to be like that. I don't want to see that shit go up to 140. But they all deserve praise, in some shape, form, or fashion, because they do get hit in the head for a living. They are, they are our entertainment, but they're also human. And that's how I look at it, man. Reasonable. We can agree to disagree. We can disagree. It's just, how we disagree. It's all about communication. I think this was a good episode anyways. I liked it. If nobody else liked it. I liked it. You know what I'm saying? But thanks for your support. Here at BodyWork Boxing, where we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.